Most men have been taught a dangerous lie. They've been told that if they love harder, give more, sacrifice more, become more available, more accommodating, more understanding, respect will naturally follow. But reality doesn't work that way. And deep down, you already know it. You've seen relationships where a man gave everything and still ended up ignored, dismissed, or replaced. You've watched men become emotional servants to people they desperately wanted to keep, only to discover that the more they chased approval, the less they seemed to receive it. The brutal truth about female respect in relationships is not that women are cruel. It's that respect follows laws most people never learn. And if you misunderstand those laws, no amount of effort will save you. Because respect is not something you negotiate. It is something you embody. The problem is that most men enter relationships with an invisible assumption. They believe attraction creates respect. They believe commitment creates respect. They believe loyalty creates respect. Sometimes it does. But often, it doesn't. Because respect operates on a deeper level than affection. Affection is emotional. Respect is psychological. Affection can be given freely. Respect must be earned continuously. And the moment you understand this distinction, the entire landscape of relationships changes. The first principle is this: respect follows strength, not compliance. Most men confuse being good with being agreeable. They believe the less conflict they create, the more valued they will become. So they constantly adjust themselves. They suppress opinions. Avoid difficult conversations. Tolerate behavior that bothers them. Accept situations that violate their standards. And all the while, they believe they are protecting the relationship. But what they are actually doing is dismantling their own foundation. A building cannot inspire confidence if its structure bends with every gust of wind. Human psychology works similarly. People trust strength. Not aggression. Not dominance. Strength. The ability to remain grounded in your values even when doing so carries consequences. The average man fears losing approval. The self-aware man fears losing himself. That difference changes everything. Respect grows when people know where your boundaries are. It disappears when they realize there are none. The second principle is uncomfortable. Respect is impossible without self-respect. This sounds obvious. Yet countless people enter relationships hoping another person will provide the validation they cannot provide themselves. They want reassurance to silence insecurity, attention to silence loneliness, acceptance to silence self-doubt. And in doing so, they unknowingly place their emotional survival in someone else's hands. Think about that. If your confidence rises and falls based on another person's mood, attention, or approval, who is actually in control? Not you. The tragedy is that dependence often disguises itself as love. But they are not the same thing. Love says, I choose you. Dependence says, I need you to feel whole. One is freedom. The other is captivity. Respect cannot grow inside emotional captivity. Because people instinctively respect individuals who can stand on their own feet. Not because they reject connection. But because they do not require it to maintain their identity. The third principle is the law of scarcity. And no, this isn't about playing games. It's about understanding human perception. Anything that is endlessly available gradually becomes invisible. Attention. Time. Energy. Presence. When given without limits, they lose psychological weight. Most people think value comes from giving more. But value often comes from being intentional. A craftsman does not pour concrete everywhere. He places it precisely where the structure requires support. The same applies to relationships. When your entire life revolves around another person, you send an unintended message. You communicate that there is nothing else demanding your focus, nothing else requiring your discipline, nothing else worthy of your ambition. And that message quietly erodes respect. A relationship should be part of your life, not the replacement for it. The fourth principle is emotional stability. This is where many men lose the game without realizing they're playing it. Because emotional instability rarely appears dramatic at first. It appears as overreaction, neediness, constant reassurance seeking, mood dependence, and the inability to tolerate uncertainty. These behaviors create a subtle psychological burden. Imagine being on a ship in rough water. Now imagine discovering that the captain panics every time a wave appears. How safe would you feel? How confident would you feel following his direction? Relationships operate under the same principle. Respect grows when people know you can navigate discomfort without collapsing under it. Life is unpredictable. Conflict is inevitable. Stress is unavoidable. The question is not whether storms arrive. The question is whether you become the storm. The self-aware man develops emotional discipline. He feels deeply. But he does not become controlled by every feeling he experiences. That distinction makes him trustworthy. And trust is one of the deepest roots of respect. The fifth principle is purpose. Many men gradually abandon their mission after entering a relationship. Their goals become secondary. Their growth slows. Their standards soften. Their ambition fades. And they don't notice because it happens gradually, like a fire losing heat one ember at a time. But purpose is magnetic. Not because success impresses people. Because purpose creates direction. People naturally respect individuals moving towards something meaningful. A ship drifting aimlessly creates anxiety. A ship moving toward a destination. A ship moving toward a destination creates confidence. When you have a mission larger than comfort, larger than approval, larger than immediate gratification, you develop a psychological gravity that cannot be faked. You stop orbiting other people. You become your own center. The sixth principle is the courage to disappoint. Most people are controlled by the fear of disapproval. They say yes when they mean no. They tolerate what they should confront. They remain silent when honesty is required. But every act of self-betrayal leaves a mark. The brutal reality is that respect often requires disappointing people. Sometimes you must choose truth over comfort, standards over approval, integrity over convenience. The people who command genuine respect are rarely those who pleased everyone. They are the ones who remained aligned with themselves. The truth is simple. Respect is not created through manipulation, tactics, or pretending to be someone you are not. Respect emerges when your actions, standards, emotions, and purpose align. The deepest form of respect is not the respect someone else gives you. It is the respect you earn from yourself. And once you possess that, everything changes. Not overnight. Not magically. But permanently.